The iguana is a fantastic-looking creature. With a ridge along the back and tail, a variety of skin textures and a scaly beard, the animal looks like a small dragon. And although it's called the green iguana, it doesn't always have greenish skin tones. Coloring can be blue-green, bright green, reddish, gray and yellow to pale pink and lavender. In some places, iguanas are even blue at a young age, but gradually change color as they age. Description: this species was first formally described by the Swedish botanist Carl Linnaeus in 1758. Many subspecies have been identified over the 2 centuries since, but later, after genetic research, they were classified as simple regional variants of the same species, except for the Caribbean iguana. Using data from nuclear and mitochondrial DNA sequences to study the phylogenetic history of the iguana, the scientists studied animals collected from 17 different countries. Topology of phylogeny showed that this species originated in South America and eventually moved through Central America and the Caribbean. The study did not identify unique mitochondrial DNA haplotypes for subspecies status, but indicated deep lineage divergence between Central and South American populations. There are 2 subspecies of the common iguana. Iguana is distributed in the Lesser Antilles and South America. Iguana rhinolapha, this form is native primarily to Central America. Both taxa can be fairly safely distinguished by the 2 or 3 small horns on the face of the rhinolapha iguana. The word iguana comes from the Spanish form of the name in the language of the Taino people, who lived in the Caribbean before the arrival of the conquistadors and sounded like iguana. Over time, the Spanish version of the name passed into the scientific name of this species. In some Spanish-speaking countries, males of this species are called garrobo or ministro, and juveniles are called iguanita or gorobito. Appearance and features: after hatching, iguanas range in length from 16 to 25 centimeters. Most mature iguanas weigh 4 to 6 kilograms, but some can reach 8 kilograms if properly fed. These large lizards are about 2 meters long. Although these animals are called green iguanas, their coloration is different. Adults become more uniform in color with age, while young ones may appear more spotty or striped between green and brown. An individual's color can also vary depending on his mood, temperature, health or social status. This color change can help these animals with thermoregulation. In the morning, when the body temperature is low, the skin color will be darker, helping the lizard to absorb heat from sunlight. However, when the hot midday sun is shining on them, these animals become lighter or paler, helping to reflect the sun's rays and minimizing the heat absorbed. Active dominant iguanas tend to be darker in color than lower-rated iguanas living in the same environment. Most of the color variation seen in this species occurs in males and can be attributed in part to sex steroids. Other distinctive features of this species include a pouch under the throat, a dorsal ridge consisting of dermal spines running from the middle of the neck to the base of the tail, and a long tapering flat tail. Milk thistle is more developed in adult men than in women. The extensions of the hyoid bone stiffen and support the leading edge of this structure, which is used in territorial defense or when the animal is frightened. This fleshy structure also serves to absorb and dissipate heat as it expands. The lateral eyes are protected mainly by the immobile eyelid and the freely movable lower eyelid. On the dorsal midline of the skull, behind the eyes, is the parietal ocellus. This sensory organ, although not a real eye, serves as a solar energy meter and promotes the maturation of the genitals, thyroid and endocrine glands. The visual effect of this eye is mainly limited to detecting predatory shadows from above. What does an iguana eat? Iguanas are mostly herbivorous. Green leafy plants or ripe fruits are the preferred food. But sometimes they eat small amounts of meat or invertebrates. Iguanas use their tongues to manipulate their food and bite small pieces to swallow with little or no chewing. Food mixes with enzymes in the stomach and then goes into the small intestine, where pancreatic enzymes and bile are mixed with it. Most of the digestion takes place in the colon, where the microflora breaks down cellulose. The microflora is necessary for the digestion of the hind intestines of this difficult-to-digest food. In the first 3 years, iguanas need a lot of dietary protein to grow fast enough. During this period, young iguanas can consume insects and spiders. Elderly iguanas that are near their maximum height consume a low phosphorus, high calcium, leafy diet for their needs. Iguanas are exothermic animals. Their body temperature depends on the ambient temperature. Low temperatures suppress the iguana's appetite and reduce the activity of digestive enzymes. Active feeding usually occurs when the ambient temperature is 25 to 35 degrees centigrade. Keeping warm is an important aid for digestion. Iguanas may stop eating before or during a skin change. Females may refuse to eat at later stages of egg development. Individuals who are overly stressed or in new conditions may also refuse to eat. Now you know what to feed the iguana. Let's see how the green lizard lives. Features of character and lifestyle. In the wild, most of the debate among iguanas is about where to heat their bodies. These herbivorous lizards usually have enough food. Bathing is important for raising body temperature and improving digestion. During the breeding season, males demonstrate territorial claims through head bouncing and color changes. They bite each other. Injuries in the wild are rare as males have plenty of room to retreat when threatened. However, in captivity, where space is limited, injuries are more common. Females may also exhibit some of these behavioral skills when space for nesting is limited. Common iguanas can travel significant distances on several occasions. Females migrate to the same nesting site for several years in a row and then return to their home territory after laying eggs. Cubs can also travel long distances. When frightened, the iguana usually freezes or hides. Like many other lizards, iguanas can shed some of their tail. This gives them a chance to escape before the predator figures out what's going on. A new tail will sprout and grow in a year, but not to the length that it was before. Near the race, iguanas jump into the water from overhanging branches and then swim away from the threat. Animals prefer tall and dense vegetation with plenty of moisture, sun and shade. How long do iguanas live? The lifespan of an iguana, depending on its species, ranges from 10 to 20 years. At the same time, iguanas often live longer at home than in nature, where they are threatened by various predators. But there is also the opposite situation, when in captivity this reptile withers faster. To prolong the life of such an exotic pet, it is important to provide the iguana with proper maintenance and care, which we will discuss later in the video. Keeping an iguana at home. Since iguanas are heat-loving lizards that cannot tolerate cold, it is very important for their maintenance to provide them with conditions as close as possible to natural ones. The temperature in the iguana enclosure should be between 28 and 40 degrees Celsius. By dropping the temperature below 28 degrees Celsius, you run the risk of freezing your heat-loving pets. To maintain the required temperature, it will be necessary to build a special heater under the terrarium. Above the terrarium, an ultraviolet lamp should be placed. Thanks to its glow, domestic iguanas will receive enough light to maintain their body in a normal state. Since iguanas love not only warm climates, but also humid ones, to maintain moisture in the cage, there should be a small pool filled with clean drinking water. Among other things, iguanas love to soak in the water, and a small pool for this purpose will be what you need, plus thanks to it, they will be able to quench their thirst at any time. As a cover for an iguana terrarium, a grass rug, or even just a regular rug, is perfect. But sand, stones, soil should not be poured there, as curious iguanas can taste the sand, which is by no means useful for their body. Since many iguanas like to climb trees, you will also need to construct various driftwood in the terrarium and place wooden sticks on which the iguanas will climb back and forth. It is also important to provide natural ventilation in the terrarium. Without high-quality air circulation, the iguana will begin to develop various diseases, and ultimately this can be fatal. Simple holes in the top cover will not be enough. The best option would be a ventilation slot covered with a strong mesh. And finally, it is worth noting that the terrarium itself should be located in a quiet place, out of the reach of dogs and cats, with which iguanas are unlikely to make friends. How to feed an iguana at home. As we wrote above, at home, the iguana can be fed with fruits and vegetables, herbs and mineral supplements. It is important to provide the pet with the amount of calcium and phosphorus it needs. If all these difficulties and numerous conditions of detention did not scare you off, then you can get a home iguana. Interesting iguana facts. The appearance of the marine iguana became the prototype for the Hollywood monster Godzilla. Yes, if you enlarge a real marine iguana several times, then you get Godzilla, only it will be good, not evil, given the peaceful nature of the iguanas. The Indians of the ancient Mayan civilization believed that our world was located inside a giant room, and 4 iguanas called Itsami played the role of walls and simultaneously symbolized the 4 cardinal points. The Moche Indians living in western Peru hold the iguana as a sacred animal. After hatching, young iguanas look similar to adults in color and shape. They resemble adult females, rather than males, and lack dorsal spines. With age, these animals do not have serious morphological changes, except that they grow. In some countries, the iguana has a culinary value. The meat is harvested from both game animals and farm animals. Their meat is eaten and called green chicken, because the type of meat resembles chicken. A well-known iguana dish is sopa de gorobo. Iguana chicks tend to feed on adult feces, which may be an adaptation to acquire much-needed microflora. This microflora breaks down food and makes it available for absorption. 6 to 8 weeks before and during courtship, males may take on a bright orange or gold hue, although coloration is still associated with dominance status. Mature females for the most part retain their green color. Price. Most common prices range from $20 to $600 depending on the breed and gender. Green iguanas cost $20 depending on the gender and size starting from baby to adult.